Deep Rock Galactic?
Uh,
Gotta ask you this. Yes
uh,
or not?
G Pro Galactic.
Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've seen clips of it, but I've never played it. Actually.
Okay. Your um your thing about you compare Helldivers with Avengers,
Oh yeah.
but I would compare Helldivers more with Deep Rock Galactic.
The only
Actually,
reason why I compared it with Avengers is because it has a very similar gameplay. Oh, Mu is here. Hey,
hello,
we have almost the whole squad. If Elmo joins, we're gonna have the whole Helldivers team here.
Hello.
hello.
Oh, now I understand why the stream wouldn't pop up. A very similar gameplay. Oh, it was in a fucking. I was in a different tab. Uh, now
You
live
silly goose.
streams. Yeah, I have to do so much shit because streaming on YouTube is so annoying sometimes. Like I have to constantly re-find the link to the chat to update the chat to pop up correctly on the stream. Hashtag Helldivers 2. Playlist, podcast. Done. Show more. Helldivers 2. Save. Now that that is done, chat. Control A, Control C. Moo, you're muted. Or is that on purpose? Alright, I fixed chat. I think we're ready to go. Yep. Everything looks in order.
It works. It works.
Okay, back.
Oh, hello there.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
No.
That's okay.
As a quick question, why would you compare Helldivers with Deep Rock Galactic? Like, what are the similarities in gameplay?
Okay, I can tell you every similarity in the game.
It
But
doesn't have to be all of it. It's just like, what do you
okay,
find similar in the gameplay?
so that mission construction is similar. You have like the base station, you can upgrade weapons. Instead of stratagems, you have weapons and shit that you can upgrade. Your classified weapons. Deep Rock Galactic is a pure, as Helldivers, a pure co-op game. So you you can play it alone, but on higher difficulties, you depend on other classes because you have to have the engineering can make platforms, the scout makes light, the heavy gunner makes like ropes and so on. The driller has a drill in a fucking game where everything is rocks and stones. But these classes are wonderful to combine. So it's like you have the station, you have the mission system, like you can drop here and there, you can quick join other people really fast, and yeah, you pick your boosters with everyone. They are pretty random, I've got to say. So Helldivers does this a little bit more better, and then you're getting dropped on the planet, into the planet, just how you want to discuss it, and it has the similar dynamic for, it has friendly fire, like Helldivers. It has that you get constantly, you have to make the decision between, do I throw a C4 in that horde of enemies and maybe hit another
What's up,
player,
friends? It's
or
Endemia.
do I just shoot them down? The difficulty gets really fast, really hard. So it's just 5 levels of difficulty, but these 5 levels of difficulty are in the order of fuck you, it's easy, fuck you more, you're fucked. And I mean you're fucked. The complete tunnel systems are completely full of enemies. You have to feel it like a constant swarm of bugs. And yeah, it's very similar in that aspect.
I will give you that.
Helldivers-
I will give you that. It sounds similar to Helldivers.
Yeah,
To some extent.
to some extent.
have-
The balancing has to be as precise. It is more precise than Helldivers. You have to. The movement is a little bit better, but because you are dwarfs, if you have movement, you are smaller than everything. You don't have to crouch, you don't have to dive, or nothing like this. You can just move around.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, you can climb.
Oh, that's I mean,
that's
it's kind of the same in Helldivers. You can barely climb anything.
Yeah, you can barely climb anything, and I don't know. The developers stopped that climbing pretty much because the players were getting only on top of mountains and hills like shit, and that's not what the game was designed for. I mean, it's funny, and if I get jetpack, I'm almost on any rock you can find, just to snipe down enemies. But that's just it. It's not jump pack, not a jetpack. We have to make a difference on that.
I mean, the Helldivers kind of solved it by having the bugs leap and glitch through mountains and stuff to reach you.
Yeah, but they solved it also that you can't climb higher than a certain height. And it makes that climbing feature on stuff really wanky. So you can climb over your head sometimes, but the when you can climb and when you cannot climb is like on so many different levels of dumb shit physics, like the game structure is not very clear on that.
Yeah, so
That's-
it needs refinement.
Oh, it needs refinement, and as I wrote on that very long comment, I'm gonna say it has to get a new engine to everything work like it's intended.
Are you referring to Deep Rock Galactic or Helldivers?
No,
here?
I'm referring to Helldivers
Oh,
right now.
fair enough.
Just stalling so the part where Deep Rock and Helldivers are comparing are over. I just like to compare it more to Deep Rock Galactic than Avengers because it's the same size of studio around about, and it's the same size of game hit as Helldivers, not made that, but not so extremely on the popular side.
To a degree, the thing is, if I have to make a review where I compare Avengers with Helldivers, I will give Helldivers a bit more leeway because they are a smaller studio. But at the same time, like I mentioned in the video, we shouldn't just baby them to success.
No, we shouldn't just baby them to success.
Yeah.
That's totally okay. That's totally
Yeah.
fine.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have a huge gaming development team with all the money in the world, all the devs in the world, and your game is shit. At the end of the day, we're still looking at the execution and the product you give us.
Sure.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull up your comment, like one of your comments, the last one, because that one really went more in depth on it, so we can have like I like to go argument by argument. Like I have a clear
Yeah.
through line of how the discussion goes instead of what I can remember.
Sure that.
Yeah. Make it possible. I guess we can start with like the first thing I see you mention in the comment is that stratagems, tactics, weapons, balancing, and Joe. Let's start with stratagems.
Okay.
Uh,
Stratagems are not as common are not that usable in every mission. So it's not like a weapon for all. You can't have a weapon for all with stratagems. It's made to have different choices, but for each enemy type and mission type, like the not the gas, not the gas, the smokes. The smokes are mostly intended for bots. If you use that smoke eagle strike, it makes a complete wall, and they lose sight of you. And when they lose sight of you, they don't attack you that fast or are not hitting you that much. They just fire blindly.
Fair enough. My criticism towards the smoke is more how the game was coded with like the stealth mechanics in the game more than the stratagem itself. Because if for example, with the smoke, you said that it breaks line of sight. If it,
Yeah.
I'm willing to like think Cisco and Moo can agree with me on this. The stealth mechanics in Helldivers are almost non-existent.
Because it's not made for stealth mechanics.
So why have smoke?
Smoke are to interrupt enemies and use them like cover or stop. Like you have two bases besides close to each other, and you want to take out base after base like a commando bunker and a base really, really close to each other. Then you can stop them from going in there. So you can make the bunker first, then make the base second. That's what it's used for. So it's not a stealth mechanic as per se, so more like to get the enemy less vision you're doing, and they don't all like 15 kilometers away the next reinforcement.
But that's the thing. The thing is, there is technically a stealth mechanic in the game. When you're prone in bushes, no matter how
Yeah.
close the bugs and the robots are to you. They cannot detect you if you're prone in bushes. Robots do not detect you if you have a riot shield. Like, the
Yeah,
giant ass shield. Like they do.
that's a bug. That's totally a fucking bug. That's not
Okay,
even.
but it's a bug because of the line of sight mechanic,
Yes.
which implies stealth to some extent. Also, having a
Yeah,
sniper that, like a stratagem sniper, which is like in its description, it's silenced, so it implies stealth as a mechanic.
yeah, it applies stealth as a mechanic because you can make the way to use it. Stealth as a mechanic is very important if you put the game for stealth mechanics, or put the game for just that you can do stealth, but it's not intended to do it.
I'm not saying it's intended to it. I'm just saying that the presence of a stealth mechanic is in there, and
Yeah.
the game does point it out to an extent.
Yeah, sure. Because you have to get away from enemy scouting lines and have to get away from patrols and so on. So you have to have some kind of vision stopping mechanics. And
Yeah, like the
for the
aggro then.
bugs, I really have to tell you that you getting sniffed out. They use some kind of vision system, but they can smell you. The hunters can smell you, and sometimes the warriors too. And what makes that is that you can hide from them, but not for long. They smell you, they attack you. Like stalkers. Stalkers have a very, very big range. For when they can smell you, they're gonna attack you.
But I think we can all agree that Helldivers 2 and stealth literally shouldn't have any like link to them. Right? Like the whole game is
bugs-
designed of swarm based gameplay, as in you have a
Yeah,
fuck ton of
yeah.
enemy. Yeah.
You need some mechanics of
Like I understand
to
the
get-
aggro mechanics, as in
Yeah.
they lose line of sight and they keep their guard up, like they know you're out there, but they just don't know exactly where you are, as opposed to having a stealth mechanic, like when you're prone in bushes, they don't see you no matter how close you are to them or they are to you, or having a sniper rifle that's quote unquote advertised as silent in the description.
Is that
Yet
50 PM? Is that antimaterial sniper described as silent?
yeah,
Holy shit, that's not true. The sniper rifle is one of the loudest things.
no, that's the thing, because there's an actual, like, so when you go into the weapons tab on your normal weapons, you have a sniper and that is loud. Then
Yep.
I remember this was like in episode 4 or 5 of my Helldivers walkthrough or episodes. I tried the sniper rifle that was by default in your weapons, and then I unlocked the anti-material rifle. So I was like, oh, are they the exact same thing? And I had the sniper weapon and the sniper anti-material rifle with me. The anti-material rifle was much quieter, and at certain distances, it wouldn't trigger other enemies when you would kill a bot. But at the same time, the distance, it's very inconsistent. So if you hide behind a rock, prone in bushes, sometimes when you kill an enemy, nothing happens, and sometimes the whole fucking place lights up like a candle. As in everybody's on alert and they know where you are exactly.
Yeah, that mechanic is it's to a big extent really wonky.
Yeah.
The sniper rifle isn't silenced,
At least when I picked it up, because I read the description of weapons. It's kind of like when I play a video game, I love to fully dive into it. So if you
Yeah.
offer me a description of a weapon, I will read it and see like, so that's what it does. Kind of like rifles that have explosive ammunitions. They tell you it has explosive ammunitions or incendiary ones. There's two shotguns that are basically identical, but one has incendiary rounds, one has slugs, and they
Yeah.
point it out in the description of the gun.
That's right.
They could have removed
Just
it.
wait for me a second,
Yeah,
because
no problem.
just opened. I opened Helldivers to get the tab open for the anti-material sniper rifle. What it says.
They could have changed it. That is also possible. But I remember when I read it that it said it's a silenced sniper.
Okay.
So it could have been patched and
It could have been patched because there are some misunderstandings, but the range on the sniper rifle is something I use it to make some kind of stealth operations, because if you can time the shots right, you can easily make it work without any enemy noticing you. But that's because you know, right? Because of the target vision, not the vision that the target has, but the vision on you from any other enemy.
yeah, that's the thing. I think it was around episode 10 or 11. Elmo made a friend in Helldivers. He's named Viper, and he's one of the bigger one of the biggest players among all of us. Like if Cisco isn't around, I will refer to Viper as the best of us. But if Cisco is here, I will refer to Cisco, since he's the second highest in like hours and how much attention to the details of the game he pays.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the thing. I was playing with only Viper, and we were both using anti-material rifles, and we were actually full-blown stealth. Sometimes we would get fucked on certain outposts. Like you would have two bots next to each other. We take them both down, but the whole outpost still lights up and like gets on full mode, even though there's no other bots in sight. And sometimes it works. It's an inconsistency with the system, but my point with it all stems back to what's the point of the smoke or orbital smoke or eagle strike if the only reason is to make the enemies temporarily blind.
Yeah, it's just like that. It makes the enemies temporarily blind. You can act freely for that time of that you have.
Oh yeah, another issue that Zach just helped me remember: the sight of the sniper was misaligned. Like I would have their
they
head in
fixed
the
that. With the last patch, they fixed it.
I was very
I'm
shocked.
very happy about that.
It happened to me multiple times live on camera. I would have.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that too. I had that multiple times myself, and it's.
At
really
one point, I
annoying.
thought it was just me being a bad sniper. I was getting a little frustrated. Like,
Oh, yeah.
does the bullet have a drop? If it doesn't, why? Because I would have the crosshair dead on their head, nothing. I would go up a bit with the crosshair because of bullet drop, still nothing. And like just below the crosshair was the actual sweet spot with no bullet drop. So I was like very confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that it was pain and agony to snipe.
But yeah, again, what's the point of a sniper if you're not gonna if you're
it's
not gonna have a
accurate.
stealth mechanic?
The point of a sniper is, yeah, I know that, but it's kind of an interesting approach to the game. So you cannot always snipe on that game. You have mostly planets with fire, sandstorms, and shit that
But
are stopping you from anything to get sight on.
that's kind of like part of my problem with the game or the stratagems, the ones I call useless, because okay, you're making a game focused on swarm enemies, no stealth, or very, very low minimal stealth. What's the point of adding smokes, snipers, or any like abilities and tools that should promote sniping? Like having a jetpack, an anti-material rifle, smoke grenades, and like a stratagem that throws a huge cloud of smoke in case you run out of the grenades. Like that's a full stealth build. Can we
Yeah,
agree?
that's a full stuff build.
Yeah. So why is it in the game if the game is not revolved around it to some extent? Like
Because player want to make every game to play as much stealth as possible.
it, that's the thing.
And
It's my point is that they spent time coding that stuff. They spent time creating like they had to brainstorm the idea, they had to code it into the game, they had to balance it, they had to animate it. There's a lot of work hours put into that.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't make the smokes, smoke grenades, orbital and eagle smokes, and the sniper rifle for the stealth part, and they poured all that time into refining the physics and the ragdolls and the movement system, do you think it would have like be a disadvantage for the game lacking those stratagems?
for one, there will always be a calling from players to get a sniper rifle, to get something like smoke to make sightlines temporary blinded. There will always be in any game something like this that the players want. And the second one is not every developer on every key point has the same role there. So, like, there's a whole team on physics, movement, and stuff, and that's not the same people that makes the stratagems, design everything, code everything, make everything, animate that shit. So it's not that the team that makes stratagems makes the movement.
Well, they could the people they would have in the stratagem department could be moved over to the physics department or the movement department. That's my point. Like they would have a lot more work, employees working on the physics than the stratagems because they would have less stratagems to deal with. Or let's say they couldn't. Let's say they had 4 extra people because of removing these 4 stratagems. The orbital cannons would be more effective and more precise. Can we agree on that? Like that is one of the major complaints me and many others have with the orbitals. Like an orbital precise shot is not precise, which is ironic to an
The
extent.
orbital precision strike is, as I know, really precise, except there's the orbital negative for your accuracy. There is a term for that. Fuck. There is a status for that on if you press C on the PC, you can see that there is orbital scattering for 25% or something like that. So it can't be always perfect, but the orbital precision strike is without that negative booster. I don't know what to call it. It's very precise, and it's so much precise that we use it in endgame content just to gets like every charger and shit done because it is so fast.
Oh yeah. Speaking of precision with okay, uh, quick question: when you call a supply drop or a turret,
Yeah.
if you throw it on a moving target, would you expect the stratagem to follow it and drop right on top of it?
To some degrees, yes. Like a stratagem that you can move support weapons or resupply. Yes. Orbital strikes, no. Big bombs, no. The only thing that I would like to have as a orbital strikes when you stick them to the enemies. Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to mention we're not. I'm not referring to orbital strikes anymore. It's just
Okay.
since we're discussing precision, my thought. I immediately thought of, oh, I stock so many stratagems like resupplies, sentries, weapon calls, like calling weapons,
Yeah.
revives, and basically a hell bomb. Let's say I'm dropping a hell bomb stratagem and I stick it to a charger. It doesn't drop on the charger where the beam is. It drops where it originally stuck to the charger. However, if you stick it to a player, it follows it no matter what, which is a bit unfair.
It's that is really unfair. That's also a bug. I think they removed it completely because I haven't had it anymore. Yeah, you can stick stratagems on friendly shields, not on players, but on friendly shields. That's possible. And if they don't drop the shield, they dead.
I've noticed the both, like whether they have a shield or not. If it happened to Elmo multiple times. I would throw a stratagem and it would get stuck to him, and we wouldn't have the shields at the time. Rarely we use the shields. We usually use jetpacks.
Yeah,
But
I can follow for
yeah,
that. I know that.
the
I
idea
know that
that a stratagem, like a physical dropping pod, like would nail your friends after they run 500 meters, but they wouldn't nail a charger that stomped into a rock 2 meters away from where it originally got stuck to. It's an inconsistencies
It's
like these is why I mentioned these are problems. Like, yeah, you can
yeah.
find them like you can find them. Oh, they're not a big issue for me, but they're still an issue.
They are an issue. Okay, I know what you mean. It's like everything that is not orbital. There are the pods. The pods are probably working. Also, they are working as intended. If you stick them to an enemy non-armor part, they drop on that enemy if even when they are moving. That is fixed. That eagle strikes like the 500 kilo bomb when you stick it to a charger, then it's sadly not fixed that when the charger moves, it doesn't move the eagle bomb's target acquisition thing, so it drops where it stands. I think that is good because when the charger just follows your teammates and carries the bomb to you in that time when you run away and stick it to him. But yeah, that's for
I would
people
argue that it's a sacrifice worth making, like killing your killing your teammate once and taking out a charger with him instead of having a 500 kilogram drop where the beam isn't guiding it and like missing completely.
Yeah, I can totally understand it, but if you get to like even at level 8, there are like 5 chargers in a row, and it doesn't make sense to kill you kill the teammates, it does make sense to kill only the charger with that weapons that you have available for that.
Actually,
Not the
that makes
box.
less sense because if you have one teammate aggro three chargers and then put a stratagem on him with the 500 or a charger, like let's say you throw the 500 pound on your teammate or the charger, and the teammate is chased by three of them, wouldn't you agree that respawning your teammate once is worth three chargers that could
Yeah,
fuck up your
okay.
whole team?
If it's free charges, but most of the time they are not only getting on one target, they are mostly gonna target everyone.
But that is a tactic. Like for the most part, because I somehow can deal with chargers, I would rush in, aggro all the chargers, and Cisco, Elmo, and Viper or Moo would be able to just mode their asses, like because their ass is the open part where you can damage them completely. Like I would run around like a jackass, aggroing all of them, and they would shoot their asses. And whenever they got the aggro on them, I would try to get the aggro back or shoot their ass while dealing with the other two. Like at the
Yeah,
end,
I can understand that with that shooting on that ass, and you can aggro them. But as I know it, it can be happening and it can be done. But if the charger just wants one guy of your team, and the other charger just wants the other guy of your team, they don't really change that
well,
mindset, I guess.
it's pretty easy to change aggro of a charger. It happened multiple times where I would have a charger on my ass and another charger would aggro on Cisco. I would literally follow the charger aggroed on Cisco. Whenever the charger would hit a wall because Cisco dived out of the way, I would shoot its ass, get in front of its face, and aggro it on me. So I would have two. Like it's pretty easy to make. Like they're pretty stupid. The AI of the AI in general is pretty stupid. You can aggro the entire pack on you, like in Call of Duty Zombies.
Okay. In that time, if you have to aggro that complete pack, you are most likely overrun by hunters, shriekers, etc.
Why do you think
So
I have the
it's
jetpack? but,
okay.
but you get my point.
I know we. I get that point. I get that point, and it's okay. It would be nice if that was fixed. It's still a bug online for that, but you can work with it. You can work with it. Everyone can work with it.
True, but at the same time, again, we cannot. The point of my review is it's an objective quality control. Like my review isn't my opinion of the game. If it was based on my opinions alone, I would have just said I would have titled the video "My Opinion of Helldivers 2." But the point of my review is this is the game. Everybody loves it. This is what the issues with the game are. And when the game has when the main feature of the game, like stratagems for example, has a lot of inconsistencies between them and kind of like we discussed earlier, like some stratagems should drop where the beam is when you pull a supply, drop a sentry, but the charger ran away, so it drops where it was firstly attached, or the smoke basically being almost pointless, considering that it only breaks line of sight, even though you can break line of sight easily on your own without having the smoke. It just in a swarm game, slowing down to do a Dance Dance Revolution combo to call a smoke when you can just have a jetpack and run the fuck away to hide is much more effective. Problems like these are core problems with the concept of certain stratagems, with how they're implemented, with how they're coded, bugs. Like all of these are very crucial problems to one of the main features of the game, which I can whether I like it or not, or whether you can work around them or ignore them, that is subjective. But like I mentioned in the video, if you can find the game fun and ignore the problems I
no.
mentioned. Yeah.
I just wanted to get closer on that problem with stratagems, like when they are usable or when they not. It felt like you would say the stratagems. These are the type of stratagems that are usable, and these type of stratagems that are not usable.
I can
But
tell.
the type of stratagems that are usable are in condition for the mission, how many player you have, and
Not
what type
always.
of enemy you
I
defend.
I can tell you a list of stratagems that work in every mission, no matter what. For
Yeah, sure.
example, the
There are
500.
some.
Well, that's the thing. The 500 pound, the normal Eagle airstrike, the in any sentry you can fucking select will work in any scenario for the most part. Actually, no. In all scenarios, they will work. Whether you have the rocket, the Gatling gun, whatever you choose, any sentry will work in any
Ah,
scenario. Uh, orbital laser, any scenario will do because it destroys buildings, it destroys targets, it works. Like there are
yeah, but
better
it works
options than the orbital
better
laser, but
or worse because
like
it's not on that enemy.
what?
Uh, the laser is mostly used on bots because on bugs it's a waste of stratagem space. As I
Bile
say that.
Titans and Chargers and Bertha. Well, I call
Yeah,
them
but
Berthas. Is
but the
the
laser needs too much time for them.
well, not really. They melt through bugs quite easily.
But it needs too much time for a Bite Titan. And
Uh,
on my behalf, it needs too much time for a charger when you can just rocket drop them. Or with the now fixed spear, you can one-shot everything if it's on the right direction.
One second. There's a comment from. Well, there's two comments that I haven't read from Zach, but this one is more on the topic. For Helldive difficulty missions, for evacuating civilians, it used to be the meta to spam smokes all types to get the civvies to the extraction ship. A counter to that argument would be have everybody select sentries, and you would have basically tower defense.
No, that doesn't work very good because the sentries are killing the civilians quite
Well, yeah,
as easy
placement.
as.
That is placement
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah, with the right placement, it can happen to work, but with I say, normal use, it's not entirely to work. And sometimes the turrets just want to fuck you.
Well, it happened on stream for me. Like somebody called a cannon sentry, and it literally turned at me and shot my head off. But that's tactics, not the fault of the sentry per se.
Sometimes
yeah.
it really just aims at you, shoots you, and then kills the bugs because it just wants to kill you. I've played long enough, I know that they do that.
That the sentries aim at you.
The sentries aim at you, there's no enemy inside or behind a rock or anything. They aim at you, they shoot at you, and then they just do their thing and shoot again the enemies that they have 180 degree in front of them.
Cisco, did that ever happen to you guys?
Yeah, me a couple
I
times.
has happened. Yeah.
Fair
It's
enough.
happened to me.
I never encountered it.
It's happened to me once, twice.
That's what I'm saying. Like it never did happen to me. That's why I praise the sentries. Like every time a sentry shot me, it's because I ran in front of it and I had bugs behind me, or well, sorry, enemies behind me. Very rarely I had a sentry betray me out of nowhere. or
Yeah,
not at
okay.
all, to be more specific.
Then you are one of the lucky ones that the sentry just like you. Just
But
take it as the sentry likes you and don't hate you.
fair
That's
enough.
totally fine and totally okay.
But see, this is why we have discussions like these. Like that is information I did not have when I made the review. My main focus of the review was, they coded this feature, and they coded it like, what does this feature do? For example, I looked at the smoke. Oh, it only cuts line of sight. Does it have any more uses? Like, is it like poison gas on top of being a line of sight breaker? No, it's not. So it's just line of sight. Then I look at a sentry, no matter which one it is, and I'm like, okay, is it detrimental to the gameplay? Well, if you're a dumbass and you run in front of it, yeah, it will kill you. If you place it poorly, it will kill the civilians you're trying to extract. But that is more, how intelligent are you with dropping it than
Or the
than
chargers
the
just
tool
run
itself.
over it. Or the chargers just run over it. That's the most of the times what happens with sentry on bugged planets.
Well, yeah, but you have the rocket sentries which can deal with the chargers.
Not that fast. Not that fast. It's like
Well,
5
yeah,
to 6 shots.
it depends where you put it, yeah, and how
Yeah,
long
if
it
you
has.
put it far
if you
away.
if you drop it right in front of the charger as it's heading straight for you, yeah, it's
That's
not
not-
gonna do shit.
Yeah, that's not the option here. I mean, there are. So I think mostly in higher difficulties because we really don't get below as difficulty 7 because we like to have it challenging.
Fair, that's
And
fair.
That's totally fine if that works on lower times, but in higher levels you get more charger patrols. They come at times you don't want to have it. You throw your sentry like 100, not 100, like 50 meters away from your position, that it can shoot chargers, but it gets run over by a charger that came out of Narnia and just rose over it.
Yeah,
So it's not that useful in higher,
but at that point,
except the Gatling or the machine gun sentry. They are the most useful sentries I've ever come to think of.
but wouldn't that be a problem with the game spawning a charger out of nowhere instead of the sentry not being able to interact with it because it just spawned there?
So it just don't. Sometimes it spawns there, but most of the time it's on a petrol line. There are more petrols everywhere, more groups of chargers everywhere. So it's more likely that they hear the shots of that sentry. The rocket sentry is more quieter, but the autocannon sentry is quite loud. And the chargers would just run into it
Which is,
because they like that
at
sound.
least it's a distraction, which like gives you the opening to destroy the charger.
Yeah, that can work too, but then you have like 180 seconds to do it without that sentry and without its stratagem slot.
I guess to explain precisely how I gauged the utility of the sentry, like how I gauged the utility of stratagems, I didn't put them in specific scenarios per se. I just looked at again, smoke, the smoke stratagem. What does it do? It breaks line of sight. Does it do anything else? No. So what scenarios is it best in? Basically, tight areas where the smoke basically cuts all lines of sight. So it's not really good for open areas where you can accidentally run out of the smoke and be back in line of sight. But if you're in between canyons, let's say, or tight areas of the map, a smoke could really help you out and cut all lines of sight. But that's about it. Sentries, what are they good for? They're good at mowing down either large numbers or big monster, like big enemies that you cannot deal with on your own. So they're very useful in most cases. There's rarely any scenarios or any there's barely any downsides to having a sentry. That's how I concluded which stratagems are useful or not. In the Eagle Strikes, I recommended the 500 and the airstrike because no matter what the fuck you target those at, it's gone. It's gone no matter what.
Mostly gone. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good thing about it.
And I also mentioned napalm and cluster bombs, each being perfect for their own. Like napalm is great for bugs, and cluster is great for clankers. But at the same time, they're still situational. Like you need to have napalm, you need to fight against bugs to be more effective because they're not as effective against the robots. Makes sense. So they're situational, unlike other stratagems. You have only 4 slots. That's my point. And if you're grinding the game for samples, for money, for XP, like you have to balance it. Are you like at the same time you want to have fun, but you also want to progress because you can have so much fun until you're like, I use like if you have only 4 stratagems unlocked and you're playing for fun, you're not gonna gather as much money, experience, and resources to get the next new thing as quickly as if you play quote unquote the meta. I would call it playing the smart choice. Because if I had to choose between the flamethrower and a quasar cannon to deal with like bile titans, quasar fucking cannon wins all the time.
Not much anymore. You can.
Of course they patched it, but the idea of concept, a cannon that you hold down and in one shot the bile titan dies. That was the meta at the time when I made the video.
Yeah.
And a basically a spray can with a lighter attached to it that can deal with smaller bugs, can barely deal with chargers and berthas.
No, it's perfect with chargers, and it was every time perfect with chargers. You have to aim at the right spots.
They die slower if you, with a quasar.
No, they die fast.
Well, no, compared to a quasar cannon.
I can kill a charger within 3 seconds or 4 seconds with a flamethrower, and I can do it. I could do it on every patch cycle because I use that flamethrower every time.
I used the flamethrower a couple times, and the charger would like stay alive for a good half a minute while it was burning to a crisp.
Did you aim at the side? The chargers don't have only the back. The back is not really their weak spot.
Yeah, it's the legs and the sides.
Yeah, it's the legs, and they.
Point was
not the legs per se. It's the under torso. So, like, if you hit it under on the belly, you can kill it faster.
The point is, the bastard was on fire. It was covered in flames, and it was running at me at Mach 10 for a good minute.
Yeah.
That's my point. It doesn't matter where I shoot it. The bastard is roasting alive. It's like the Doom guy, too angry to die for a full minute while it was burning.
Okay, I'm sorry you had to be with that, but I can assure you, you can with a flamethrower.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Scenario.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's not impossible. It's just if I had to choose between a cannon that makes a hole in space and time and a big lighter and a fucking hairspray, I'm choosing the fucking cannon that makes a hole through space and time. Just charge that bitch up, aim the quasar cannon at the charger, boom, it's split into pieces.
Yep.
It's a one-shot thing. With the flamethrower, not only you're supposed to, like, not only do you have to be careful where you aim that thing to not murder your teammates and yourself, you also have to make sure you get the right spots on the critter.
Yeah.
It's not... It's not only for new players, but in general, the utility of a flamethrower is less effective than that cannon in most scenarios. Can we agree?
No, in general, the flamethrower is more effective than the cannon because you
The
don't have a charge time.
The
You
what?
can roast. The flamethrower is more effective in general as the cannon because you can kill every bugs really fast. You can hold down many positions. You can kill chargers and buy titans with it if you know it. It's a skill-based thing.
what about
But
bots?
in general,
What about robots? Flamethrower against robots.
yeah, that's the thing. The flamethrower is not really useful on robots
But the
because
cannon still
it's-
is.
the cannon still is. The cannon is there,
And-
still wonderful.
That's my point. Why the fuck would I choose a big lighter only for buggers when I can just learn and get better with a cannon that works on both enemies? And because that's the thing. You said it's skill based. Skill requires time, practice, learning the gun, learning how it works, its downsides, its upsides, where you should aim with it, and all of that. I can only perform well with the flamethrower when I'm fighting bugs. I cannot do that against bots. But with the cannon, for example, it's not just the cannon. There's so many other like grenade launcher. A grenade launcher is useful in both scenarios. It
it's
mows down
useful.
bugs and robots equally. Same with the cannon. It destroys heavy shit on robots and bugs.
Same as the rockets.
Yeah.
The one-time
The
rockets
spear,
and
for
the-
example. The spear is useful on
wonderful.
both fucking ends.
Yeah.
So why would you use the flamethrower? Like, yeah, I get it because you like it, you find it fun and all of that. But
And it's effective. It's effective when you play in a team that have, and every team member has a different role. So it's like more based on team play together than just use.
at that point, have a machine gun. At that point, have a heavy machine gun to like have a guy in front instead of a flamethrower. It's useful in both scenarios.
Yeah, it's useful in both scenarios, but not that much in both scenarios.
Yes, it's a bit.
The machine gun is.
But
Um,
that's my point. That's how I analyze it in the video. It has nothing to do with how much fun it can be. Like, again, the flamethrower does plus 10 damage, but only to bugs. Or I can use a minus 10 damage weapon that works on both, and I can perform, like, I can
but
practice with that much better and get as good as a flamethrower on both sides. Like the taser gun, or whatever the fuck it's called, the one that shoots electroshocks. It's good against bots. It's useless against bugs. Why would you use it instead of
the arc throw?
Yeah, the arc throw gun.
If it's proper, if it's working like it's intended.
Well, yeah, that's
I
the
like
thing.
it
Same with the
more on-
flamethrower. You can kill yourself much easier than you can kill bugs with it.
With the taser, you can kill friendlies much easier than bugs. Friendlies much easier than anything with it.
Well, that's the thing.
But it's the
like
best
saying
thing.
it's like saying the Tesla tower is the greatest defense weapon because it kills everything in its perimeter, including you and your teammates.
Yeah, I don't think that is that. So it's not an argument how fast you can kill teammates. That's not the argument here.
Oh no, that's not the argument. My
undemocratic.
argument is that can it be more of a issue than help? Like, imagine a normal player, like a casual player. The idea is that I have the casual mindset, casual player mindset in mind. Like, we're not thinking, oh, what would a hardcore player that has hours upon hours of experience? No, I'm thinking of somebody that knows what video games are, somebody that plays video games casually.
Yeah, sure.
They grab the game and they have these options.
I play with people that are on average basis, and they are they understand mostly instant what is useful on which enemy and what is not.
Yeah.
So it's like situational stratagems are a good thing here. It's and you just can't say because it's useful to both sides. It's good.
Well, I would argue, yes, it's good to. Why do you think the militaries in real life prefer to have a universal weapon that you can customize for each use, but at the core, the weapon is built as a universal platform? Like if you have a quasar cannon that you can fine tune against bugs and robots, you're still using a quasar cannon at the end of the day. A flamethrower is only good on bugs. An arc gun or an arc trail spitter, whatever the fuck it's called, only works on bots.
No,
You
it
get
works on bugs
less.
too. Very good.
Yeah, they're very good at what they're doing. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're
And
useless overall.
they are useful against both enemy types. I mean,
Is
you
is
can
the flame?
use the no, the flamethrower not, but the arc thrower.
Is it
The
useful on
sting.
bugs?
Yeah, it's very useful on bugs. You can make them eat your lightnings. That's
I mean, you can say the same that the flamethrower damages over time a large number of robots.
yeah, but the blitz the arc thrower is like it makes sense to use them on bugs. It's like uh, it's like a flamethrower, but has much longer distance to, and it can kill over obstacles. So it has its very, very good usefulness.
I'm not saying it's useless. It's just I should have been more. I guess when I said useless in the review, it was the wrong word to use. I would say redundant. I should have used the word redundant because it's like they're. That's my point. You have stratagems that work on both sides, and they're still
Yeah.
very useful and like they're well made. A few bugs here and there, apparently with the sentries, and maybe with the quasar cannon. Like there's bugs with the quasar cannon where you should have bile titan and nothing happens. But those are bugs with the game, not the gun. At that point, that's why I classified the stratagems the way I did. Why would I call a weapon that's specific for or made for specific scenarios as good as weapons that can do both scenarios and they handle them very well too?
Because weapons for specific scenarios are more useful in that specific scenarios than weapons
True.
that can handle both, or not.
Well, no, like we agreed on earlier, the flamethrower doesn't work on bots. The arc, like yeah, you can
no,
say
it
the
doesn't
arc
work on
works.
bots.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work on bots. No, what I mean is specific weapons for specific types of enemies situations are more useful in that situations than a weapon for everything. And the Quasar has many downsides to it. It has a 10-second delay on every shot.
Yes.
So if you have like 2 chargers, you can, and I say normal chargers, not crusher chargers, behemoth chargers, just normal chargers. You have to wait for 10 seconds to shoot again, and then you have to load for time, and you can be stopped by a hunter or anything, and you misfire. So
Well, wouldn't the same apply with a flamethrower? And it can actually damage you because when a critter attacks you while using the flamethrower, you can set yourself on fire.
yeah, but you jump backwards and can use the flamethrower in backwards sliding. Don't have any downtime, and you clear yourself off of the fire.
True.
So it's I understand your point. I understand your
Yeah.
point very well. It's I just have maybe a different side on it.
Yeah, which is
It's not
fair.
that we have to discuss this on the point.
Yeah,
That's totally okay.
I'm sorry. I've been pushing quite hard on this. My bad. I sometimes can get very like lost and a bit intense in certain topics and discussion.
No, that's totally
Yeah.
okay. That's totally okay.
I guess can we agree on that universal weapons that do good are a better option than situational weapons that have downsides to them for the most part in other cases besides those
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Sure. That's totally logic.
Yeah, because my whole review is logic based.
That's totally logic.
Yeah.
That's totally okay. They are wonderful
Yeah.
as universal weapons.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so we kind
But
of
as time evolves and as you as a player evolve to get to know the game better, you want to have something else, not a universal weapon. You want to have something to fight against bots.
I'm not saying they
You
should remove
fight
them.
against chargers or
Oh no,
big,
I'm not.
enemies.
Don't think I'm saying like I'm implying that they shouldn't have made them or they should remove them. No, I'm not implying that whatsoever. Like I understand the purpose of having specific utility weapons. It's just there's so many of them. You have like 7, 8 Eagle Strikes, and
Yeah.
two of them are for the two of them are universal. 3 of them are situational, and the smoke is like at that point compared to everything else you have in the roster, it's kind of pointless slash useless. As in, why would you pick a smoke over a 500, or why would you pick a smoke over a cluster or napalm if you're doing bots or bugs? Like you have 4 slots. That's like it. The whole fucking point is you have 4 slots. You can pick what your favorites, but you risk not finishing the mission or hindering your teammates by having tools that only work for you. And you don't get the samples if you fail the mission. You don't get a lot of reward for failing a mission.
Yeah, sure. You don't get it. But
Yeah. Which
boy,
in
that was an echo, yeah?
what?
There was an echo, like,
Uh, I I haven't heard an echo. Was there an
check.
echo?
I thought there was.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But yeah, the more successful the mission, the more stuff you can get. Like you have more time to do the side quests. You have more time to collect everything on the map. If you
Sure.
choose the logical stratagems that overall will deal with anything you get thrown at. It gives you more resources per mission. It gives you more money per mission. It overall helps you progress further into the game, which unlocks new stratagems, unlocks new upgrades. Yeah, it's
So-
pretty logic based. All Yeah.
The problem with that is you can use. So I just go over the Eagles right now. We can talk about orbital strikes just over the Eagles. Eagle Strafe Run is good on both sides to clear fast enemies when needed. Eagle Airstrike, as you mentioned, it's one of the best stratagems to use. It can clear everything. Cluster Bomb is useful on bots and on bugs, but it doesn't close holes on bugs, and I don't know if it kills the fabricators.
The
So
airstrike.
it's not the Cluster Bomb.
Oh yeah, the cluster bomb doesn't destroy the the robot spawners.
Fabricators. Okay.
I think it can. I may be remembering wrong, but I think it can close bug holes
It can't
because they're
close
rock
bug holes
instead of.
either. Can't close bug holes either.
Oh, okay. Then
So it's
yeah, fair
just a clearing
yeah,
for
it's
enemies.
it's a
and that's
very
its own
it's better
bugs.
than the strafe.
It's better than the strafe but it's more dangerous than a strafe. The strafing one clears the bugs easily, small ones.
It's a very
that could
small
overrun
strafe
you.
run.
Hmm?
The strafe is quite small
Yeah,
compared to the cluster or the napalm.
yeah, sure. Because it's an precise method of killing enemies.
Fair enough. Oh, actually, a useless Eagle Strike, for example, the missile or the rocket, the three
Oh,
rockets
that one is wonderful. That one can kill chargers, and it when it shoots the missiles, it follows the chargers, so it kills the chargers in a perspective range. And it kills like devastators and tanks in its range. So it's 4 big enemy types that needs to be killed fast and are moving.
Well, yeah, it's just we're gonna revert back to you see a bug outpost. You're not
Yeah.
detected yet. You see a charger. You see hell in front of you. You have to close the hole. Would you rather have a 500, an airstrike, a napalm, a cluster bomb, a strafing run, a rocket? Like, which one would you pick?
To be honest, I would choose the Eagle Strike or the cluster bombs.
I would choose the 500. Like, make sure everything in that small cluster of spawners just eradicated.
Why? Yeah.
Because if what I've learned with, or my experience with most Eagle Strikes slash attack stratagems, like explosive stratagems, you like throw out and something will make it blow the fuck up where the grenade lands. The bigger the bomb or the bigger the explosion,
Oh.
the more chance that everything gets cleared out. Because I've thrown so many napalm strikes where it misses the charger or it misses the Berthas. I call them Berthas. Is the fucking bugs with the giant sacks that spit goo at you. Yeah, I call them Berthas because they're big, fat, and ugly.
Okay, Berthas. Okay.
Mile spears.
Yeah, bile spitters.
My spears.
It's
Or
much
brute
easier instead of
spiders.
bile spitter. Just Bertha. Fuck it.
Okay, Bertha. I remember that.
Everybody calls them
I make,
Bertha.
I'm using that maybe on our normal game routines now. That's nice. I like to like to call the Bile Titans mutties. So like mummies.
That's a nice name.
Yeah. Okay. I understand where this goes,
Yeah.
and I understand why you say it's more logic to use this than that.
Yeah.
There is a logic to use a specific role type. So, like, yeah, you can have 500 kilo bombs, or you can you may be taking out 1 or 2 chargers, or you can, for sure, kill 3 chargers and don't have to worry about them. That you maybe kill them.
Fair. You're talking about the rockets, I assume.
I'm talking about the rockets right
Yeah.
now.
But
No, bye.
after you kill the chargers with the rockets, you will have to deal with the spawn, the enemy, the scorpions, the fucking small critters, the large amount of things that spawn. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if
Efficiency.
you take the efficiency, yeah, you have 1 or 2 people with 500 kilo bombs. They throwing that in, but when they're out of the 500 kilo bombs, When
I
are you
don't
doing
remember
that?
exactly how long it takes for a 500, but it's not that long. It
It
rarely
takes
happened
about
between
2
outposts.
minutes and 30 seconds, I guess, on maximum upgraded. But you have to think if you're using more Eagles, you have to manually sending them back.
Um, the thing is with eagles, you have two chargers per eagle strike. So the 500 has two charges, like you can call it twice before the
Yeah, but
eagle
you have to
resupplies.
stun the chargers first, or they're gonna run out of the 500 kilo bomb, because they are not always standing still. And even when you throw the
Oh no no no!
500 kilo bomb
By
in
charges, I
the bug
mean
hole,
by charges, I mean you have two 500 kilos per
yeah,
eagle strike
yeah,
charges.
right.
Like yeah, one charge 500 and one. Same with the cluster bombs or napalm. You shoot the first cluster bomb. That was the first charge of cluster bombs on the
Yeah,
eagle.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay. I
not the actual
misunderstood you there.
chargers.
I understood chargers instead of charges. Sorry there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, but it's more of a when you play as a team, as intended, as a team with other people. Yeah, you can throw everything bomb related at them. Sure, but you won't going anywhere near optimization. You need more optimization on your team to get on higher levels.
Well, yeah, of course. It's
Uh,
just, yeah, my section of the video was more specifically individually on each ability that the stratagem offers, more than how it would work in a team setup,
mhm.
how it would work in tactically. It was purely logic based. Okay, these abilities are performing magnificently no matter what enemy you have in every scenario. The charge time between outpost to outpost, like you have medium, like small, medium, and large outposts.
Yeah.
So when you deal, like let's say you throw a 500 at the large outpost, you deal with two an easy like a small and a medium outpost, and by the time you reach the other large outpost you already have the 500 back. Like
Yeah,
overall, yeah.
but if you use that on the first large outpost, you get like maybe 4 or maximum five holes closed from around 12. So you have the other half, and you used your magic item, you used your bombs to kill make the souls close or kill a charger. So what have you next to get any spawn out
Centuries.
to kill the next wave,
uh,
um, and so on,
for
right? Because you
example,
can't wait for that.
how this is basically how me, Cisco, and Moo, like us, the crew, when we played, the usual way we deal with large outposts. We split into two teams. Like two
Hmm?
people go out in one direction and two in the other, so we can maximize the amount of stuff we get per mission in the higher difficulties. In the lower difficulties, we go one by one. But
Yeah, sure.
when we're two by two, like me and Cisco, for example, we go to one large outpost. Basically, we
Hmm?
throw our 500s. If there's still something moving or making sound, I throw a sentry, clear out everything, and while the sentry is dropping and clearing it out, I'm already in there with the jetpack throwing grenades everywhere if there is anything left.
Okay.
It's a
So,
pretty simple and quick way to get rid of large outposts. The only thing
so
it's hard to deal with is the nest eggs thing.
yeah, that's kind of easy. Depends on what you're using.
Mech.
If you all, hmm?
The mech. Like, the eggs
Oh
are
yeah, I
so easy
love to
with
use
mech.
that mech on that mission. I love to use that mech on every mission too. It's satisfying when you just rip everything with the Gatling apart. It's mostly satisfying, but it's easy to get with a grenade launcher, the crossbow. It's sometimes, most of the time, It's the airburst strike that can just clear out. I heard I don't use the gas strike anymore because it's a little bit. I don't have the feeling for where you throw the gas strike, but the gas strike can kill X2. So you can throw the gas strike on that one outpost with X, and your problem magically disappears.
Fair enough. I mean, there's always multiple ways to deal with it, with
Yes.
a problem. We kind of go the America way, just throw a big explosion at it and it's gone. And it's done in seconds. Like 2 500s and a mech can wipe out basically any egg outpost. 2 500s and a sentry can deal with any large outpost. It
Don't
like-
forget the sniper when you throw the 500 side and just snipe everything else out.
Yeah.
We did that quite a bit.
like
That's my play too.
that
Yeah, and on higher difficulties, you throw 2 500s. One 500 stucks in some fucking rock. The other 500 lands, doesn't kill the charger because magically he survives that shit. You're going in there with that mag and getting fucked over with the charger because because it's a behemoth charger and he needs 6 rockets in the face just
Oh
to
yeah, I
kill it.
hated that. I hate that you need to waste so many rockets from a fucking
Yeah.
mech on a charger. Is that a bug or is it just how the fucking thing was supposed to be? Because if that's how it's supposed to work, how the fuck does an RPG take it out?
Oh, the RPG needs 2 rockets on the behemoth and 1 on the normals. But you can't kill a normal charger with 2 rockets, but you need up to 4 or 6 rockets for the behemoth charger. That's the annoying shit.
Again, it's poor coding on how much damage or how many rockets it requires from a mech to kill that charger. Like
I
how the
think
fucking
it's more than an AMOR problem on that. The AMOR scaling is just too high on that
Yeah,
behemoth chargers,
which
and the rocket penetration is good. It's okay, but it needs a little bit more higher to kill like Ball Titans easier, and and to make a better use of behemoth chargers. Yeah, that thing. So it's more like a balancing issue than
yeah, I was
coding
about to
issue, I
say
think.
this brings us to the balancing aspect of the game. Cisco and Mu is gone. Unfortunately, something happened. I'm not sure exactly what. But in episode 8, which is my favorite episode in my entire Helldivers 2 series, we were playing a challenging mission. We were 4 people, and we got our asses handed to us by tanks, by hordes of robots. It was basically Nom on level 4 with 4 people, which was fucking insane.
So there was a time, a big time frame, where they fucked up that coding of the balancing coding of how you encounter waves. So if you're alone, you get it harder because for you as a single player, they're spawning more waves just to make it harder for you. And if you're playing like on 4 players, they spawning constant waves. So it was a long time that they made this change really, really worse. And they balanced it like maybe not the last patch, but this one before, they balanced it to a mostly good standard that you get waves sometimes, but there was a bug. And that bug is that one time they call reinforcements and then infinite reinforcement spawn. So
Oh yeah,
it
that
can happen. It's a bug. It was not really a balance. So they had a balancing issue with that, but they fixed it in the aftermath.
yeah, but
And
it was a
just
very
takes
long
them a little
period.
bit too long time to fix that.
Yes.
And because I have found out that they were hiring new people, and the problem is with hiring new people, you have to train them first. So they don't have much time to go on that fixing stuff and working on that stuff because they have to train the new people. When they know new people are trained in, then it's gonna be really fast. You will see when they are into that engine, because the engine is like I said, really old and very specific.
From
When they are trained into that, the progress will be much faster on everything.
let's start with the engine, since that's kind of like the root of everything.
Yeah.
When the game came out, when I was basically watching videos, watching reviews, and gameplay to the to decide whether I should buy the game or not, I've encountered a video where they said that they worked on the game for like 5 years and they had to make a whole new engine from the ground up. And on launch, the game was fine. Like the first month when I played it, the game was alright. Like the issues we have now were still present, but not to the extent where you would pray to God, even at level 4 missions, that the difficulty wouldn't be too insane.
Yeah. Um, it's they made the game for really, really small audience.
Which I understand, but at the same time, this brings us to the whole like this whole discussion will be more about the development team than the actual game at this point.
Okay.
You s-
Okay, just for the engine part.
well, not
They're
for the engine
using a
part, but for
Autodesk Stingray game engine. That's
well,
a so old engine that as they started with that game to develop, the developers said, that's a fucking old engine, we shouldn't use that. That of an old engine they are using for that game, they had to modify it, have it so much that it's a fucking spaghetti code. And they
again,
fuck up with every update. They fuck something up because they can't foresee the consequences of that engine.
but that's what I'm saying. Like from what I've heard, the game is on a new engine they made themselves besides that old one. Like the game we have now from launch is on a fresh engine, basically. That's at least that's the information I have. I could be wrong, or the video might have lied about it, but that's what the video entailed. That they made a new engine specifically for this game.
And what was it? Ah, it's not. They made. They had to forge that engine. So they made that engine on basis of that old engine because the support
Oh,
for the
okay. In
old
that case, that
engine
explains it.
was discontinued.
Okay. Okay. So the new engine is basically a plus version of the old engine. Fair enough.
Yes.
Okay. So there,
It's kind of like a refurbished.
yeah, okay. It's like a
Yeah, like
remaster of the engine. Fair enough.
Yeah.
In that case, it makes sense why you're calling it the old engine. I guess that's why the missing like that was a horrible video then for saying that they made a new engine for it when it's just the old engine with
It's just
updates.
the old engine with
Yeah.
updates.
Like that. Okay, that video was shit then.
Yeah.
See, that's why I focused really hard on making sure what I say in my video um, cannot be misunderstood as, oh, I just hate the game and this is just my problems. Like, no, this is the problem. This is what I've encountered to prove that the problem exists. And this is why it affects the quality of the game. That's the basis of my review. But yeah, back to the engine. Okay, we covered the engine part. You said
Yeah.
that they were hiring new people, and that's why the balancing kind of got fucked because of the spaghetti coding.
Yes.
Wouldn't you, as a gaming developer team, like let's say you went from 100 developers to 200, wouldn't you agree that it helps train the new recruits, developers, by having them on board on helping the problem?
Yeah and no. Software engineers, so like code programmers, are very specific and are very difficult to deal with because every software developer or writer makes his own little notices and makes his own little variation of the coding and shit.
Well,
So you have to see through, like, as a new guy, you don't have to see through development as one developer or two developer. You have to see like 15 developer, they're doing some different stuff. So you can't just sit by one developer and try to accomplish that and that problem.
oh,
You have to make them understand how that engine is based on, how they made it, how it's turned, what are its crooks and knuckles and everything, and then you can actively try to integrate them to get the problems fixed. But then maybe just because they don't know that this kind of style of writing isn't very accepted for that engine, maybe then they're making a slight mistake, and that's how the bugs are created. Then the
well,
style, this.
uh, w- uh, d- to be fair, I've never owned or been a part of a developer team slash company, so I don't know exactly how the structure is made. However, I would assume that they have a bug division or a patch division. Like out of the 100 developers that worked on the game, maybe 20 of them work specifically on fixing the issues in the coding.
That's not completely true. So
Okay.
there are
Okay.
some of that. There are some only bug fixing specialists.
Okay. So
But the most bugs are solved by that person who is who made the bug possible because it's their own problem, in coding, and it would take a long time to understand why they had made that mistake or made that code line instead of
the only reason why I brought that hypothetical up is because I have the main topic is having new people on board and
Yeah.
training them, and you have bugs in your game. And I have to like I thought real quick of two solutions of how you can
how to fix that. Yeah.
yeah, how to fix that issue. You have to train new people, you have to fix bugs, and you don't have the time for both. So that's why I asked, do they usually have a group or like a quarter of the people that worked on the whole project dedicated for bugs? No. Okay,
So they
uh,
have, but
uh,
specific problems are on specific development teams
it-
that are using active development and that are hindrances to the development teams if
uh,
they have the bug
and
created.
and this is where my second solution or my first solution comes in, because I had a secondary one in case they had a division specifically made for bugs. I'm sure there is a division specifically made for bugs, but not core problems, I guess.
Yeah.
But so my solution is you went from 100 to 200. Get an original developer paired up with a new developer, and you will have a fresh mind, a fresh POV, a fresh perspective on how to code the game, and somebody that is already well rehearsed with how the game works. And when you have pairing, it's kind of like Jedi and Padawan.
Yeah.
I would argue that both trains the newbies into how the code works, and that helps the old developers figure out new ways on how to fix the code and freshen up the code and like keep it up to date and find solutions, because a new person can come up with solutions that are out of the box.
Yeah. But they have first to understand what the old person is doing. So it's like in every other job, you are trained on work, but you have first to understand how is it working, what consequences are they for each and every step.
Well,
So it takes some time for new people to get to that point that
well,
they can understand when they sit next to an old guy, that they just understand what the old guy is doing.
Well, can we assume that they're not fresh out of fucking high school coders?
I hope that's the case.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing. You're making or the premise of they don't know what the old guy is doing is like how horrible are you at coding? Like they
Yeah,
got hired.
so
That means they have
so
some sort of grasp on. There's different codes. There's different engines. Each engine
mhm,
is unique in its way of coding. Like
yeah,
all you have to do is figure it out. So, for example, let's say you have a bug about ragdolls, like they take too long
mhm,
to make you get back up, and it
yeah,
has something to do with like the core coding of the engine. The old guy can basically go to the new guy and say, "Look, this is how the engine runs. This is how the physics run. This is the problem. How would you fix it?" And they start having a normal discussion like we do. Like, well, the newbie can say, well, I would code it in this way. And the old guy would say, well, that will cause an issue here, here, and here, which will help the new guy be like, oh, so that type of coding doesn't work, but I'm on the right track.
yeah.
And at one point, even the new guy will be like, why don't you code it this way? And the programmer would be like, oh shit, you're right. We could code it this way, and it fixes a lot of issues because
Yeah,
of the
at
outside.
one
Yeah.
point, and that point takes some time to understand.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying
Um,
it's gonna be instant.
right. So, and this is the problem right now. It takes more time to train new people than it would have taken than just to crunch the actual developer into they are making updates on updates on updates. So it takes more time, and that is a huge problem because right now, Helldivers 2 is a mixed bag of we want something new and we want to have the bug fix it.
There was a very long period, like there was a 2 month period where we weren't getting new stuff.
Yeah, we were getting new stuff, just less.
Can we agree it was very like a stratagem here or there? that we
Yeah.
fight for is not really something major to applaud.
No, it's not a major to applaud. That's right.
Like, do you think in a month, a dedicated, like you're a new developer, like you get hired by
Mhm.
the development team that made Helldivers 2, you're a gamer fan,
Yeah.
maybe you even love the game. Do you think it takes you more than a month to invest yourself to learn the code or the engine of the game?
I would say it takes about 3 months to invest in the engine and to learn the engine, to learn you don't have to learn the code. You can code, that's not a problem, but you have how to use that code and how to build on other codings. It takes a long time to understand what the old guys did for new guy, and they hate that. It's really hated.
So
I know I have my knowledge of. I'm not a coder myself.
me
I
neither. I
live
coded
in.
very little.
I live with. Yeah, with our AI engineer together, and that's how I know what the problems with coding and taking over codes from other people's and what mistakes can happen, how worse that is for project. Group projects are sometimes just torn down because one people made a mistake. And projects of months just are torn down because they can't find the mistake one person had made. So it's not that easy to find everything out. So it takes more time.
Um, a quick question, because I'm trying to. I have an idea of a possible solution to this, but it's quite hard to explain.
Mhm.
Have you seen the movie Ford versus Ferrari?
Nope.
Okay. Um. So in that movie, they're building a car to go against
Mhm.
Ferrari. They have problems with the brakes. It will
Mhm.
take too long to swap the brake pads and the brake discs
Yeah.
individually. So what they come up with is taking out the whole front wheel assembly, like the push rods, the toe arms and everything. They just rip everything out except the suspension, and they put everything back in like a modular
Mhm.
section. It's kind of like instead of swapping uh, a CPU, RAM, and GPU, you just take out the whole motherboard and put a whole new setup in a
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah. Okay.
Could they not, like, if you're gonna have somebody new on the project, wouldn't it be more efficient to teach them how, like, the basics of the engine, and when they are gonna add something, let's say they're adding a new prone mechanic, like they're trying to fix the prone mechanic, wouldn't it be easier to like swap the whole thing instead of fixing what's already there, and like use
Um,
gaff tape to fucking attach everything together?
that's um, that is that problem is the actual system that works. If you would replace it with another system, there would be more bugs and more problems
Oh no, the idea would be that it
because
functions the same, but it has less bugs. It's just that instead
um,
of working on a shaky foundation, you replace the foundation and build on a new one.
that is the problem because you can't take one part out. You can optimize a part. Yeah, that's right. But you can't replace a part completely because then it's like the parts are working together. It's more like what you see as the game. That's more variations, more layers on top of each other stack, and each layer has some connection with the previous layer.
Oh.
And if one layer isn't the same as before, then each connection that the layer on top has isn't right anymore. It's wrong. So it makes more problems if the layer isn't if the layer is underneath switched out, because you have to go to each layer and correct the connections for that one layer.
I guess the only issue would be to have the layer be compatible.
Yeah, right. To be compatible to the other layers, but if you make a new layer, it doesn't. Sometimes it's not even that the ground foundation isn't working. It's maybe a connection that doesn't probably makes gets the ground bases right, so the connection is wrong, and therefore it's not that efficient and makes more problems, like the jerky movement. I think the bases are right, but the response for that, the kind of sensitivity for these wanky movements, the sluggish movements, that is the problem with another connection. The connection from that WASD you go forward to that the game tells the player to get steps forward, and that layer that is crucial for that you move doesn't get in time that that information that you have to move your two legs. So it's like more sluggish. It's like ping.
Fair enough. I guess the best example of what I'm referring to is League of Legends. Like, if you compare the old League of Legends with the new one, they basically swapped out everything in how the game functions, little by little.
But not the launcher.
Well, even the launcher, they remade everything to an extent.
That launcher is the same shitty launcher.
Well,
as
I'm
previous.
referring
They
to the
just
game.
added
I'm referring
things.
mainly to the gameplay than the launcher. The launcher is its own pile of shit.
Yeah, at the gameplay they rework everything on different layers. Like they reworked like camera movement and separated the layers on what you can do. It's but it's more easy for that game type, because it's more like it's not a first person. It doesn't have everything interactable, and it has its own specific type of rules. It isn't very much random generated. It has just more generated possibilities.
I was thinking more of a concept of what League of Legends did, like slowly over time replace the old with the new that is improved.
Yeah, that's much easier on League of Legends, like on Helldivers, or maybe even Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was development hell and came out buggy and not recommendable on the first time, and it took like 1 year, 2 years
Yeah,
to get
something
it
like that.
fixed right.
Yeah.
And they had to rework certain parts, but it took a very long time to get to that point.
True, but at the same time, I would assume that Helldivers was built on a pretty simple engine. or simplistic engines, since they're a very small development team. Uh, Sleep well, Shadow. Thanks for joining for joining the
Yeah.
podcast tonight. Take care, mate. Uh, like I'm not the time frame I'm thinking of, like them having to, like, you get like, let's say they doubled the amount of people they have, they could have the newbies while they're learning, while they're being trained, work on the new stuff, and the original developers could focus on fixing the core issues. Or like,
Yeah,
they're
sure.
the thing is, they're pretty, they got a lot of money from the pre-orders, the sales. Like, they were a very popular game, 400 plus thousand fucking players.
Yeah.
And as a game, like, it's your job. Like, you're supposed to have a grip on this to an extent.
Okay. Then let me ask you this. On normal games like Assassin's Creed and stuff,
Yes.
you pay like $40, no, like $60. You get around 30, so like 4 hours, maybe 5 hours, maximum 10 hours, 20 hours sometimes of gameplay. If you just rush through the main story and don't care about side quests, maybe 8 hours of gameplay.
Yep.
So, the most people that have played Helldivers played for more than 40 hours. So the people that that are using it afterwards, they are using it as a live game service, and you don't have to pay them money to get to every warband, etc., because you can just earn it in game, and it's very easy. So it's so easy that there are dozens of guides on YouTube just to earn the super credits.
But there are
So
also people that buy the super credits.
yeah, there are people that buy that super credits. They help. They wanna help the studio to get better, or just don't have the time to farm and get the stuff.
Yeah.
That's. But I'm trying to say is, we have high expectations, and maybe too high expectations on a game that was intended to be on a much smaller community size and on a much smaller placement. And now we are getting the average, we are getting more than every other live service game. Sony did with its PSN network thing, not good with the game, and we are losing people because of bugs and shit. But it's a live service game. We
Okay.
have more active people than Counter-Strike, than the most popular games. It's normal to lose that much people for an active development game.
I guess a perfect example of what my main criticism is, that it's their fucking job. They should deal with it. The servers on launch. Is it true that it was they had servers for only 10,000 people, or was the number bigger?
The number was bigger. It was like 100,000 people.
No. How many? For how many people did they have servers? Because
Yeah, for like 100,000.
Okay. Arrowhead and Sony, or PlayStation, whichever you want to fucking blame it on, they had the numbers for pre-orders.
Yeah.
So if you have 90,000 pre-orders, and you have a 100,000 player server, do you think that's enough?
No, absolutely not.
So, because
So-
the pre-order is like roughly what, a month before release? Like the pre-orders start what, a month or two before the game releases?
So that's the funny part. Nobody knew that the game will pop up so hard. The pre-orders wasn't like 100,000 or 90,000. The pre-orders were like 50 or 40,000.
That is
It wasn't so high.
that is irrelevant. The point is that there were a lot of pre-orders, that I know for sure. I've heard of Helldivers long before it launched, and I knew people are gonna gush over this game. People were gushing over this game like a month before release, and at least in the corner of the internet I was at, and if as a game developer or like as PlayStation, I hired a developer. They're making a game. It's live service. They need servers. It's an online focused game. So if 90 or 80,000 people pre-order the game, and I have I gave them only 100,000 player server, wouldn't I, as the gay station, I would be like, yo, Arrowhead, 80% of the servers are already filled by pre-orders alone. I would argue double or triple the fucking amount of servers just to be safe. And if the numbers are not high, if the numbers are not high enough, you can repurpose those servers later. Why didn't they do that?
So I don't know for sure. I really don't know for sure. It could be either both of them or just Sony saying, you get that much server and fuck you. Or Arrowhead there wasn't that many people that have played Helldivers 1, so why should we make that much of costs, because server are
No, my argument is based on the
immense amount of
pre-orders.
money that are that have to be respected.
My argument is based on the pre-orders alone, because I know for sure there were a lot of fucking people that pre-ordered the game. In my corner of the internet, everybody was gushing over Helldivers 2 before it launched. I thought it would be the second coming of Fortnite. Ooh, another genre of game that is, like I mentioned in the video, is gonna be like the next big thing for the next fucking 5 years. By the way, everybody was so excited for it, and how everybody was sharing their opinions, like, oh, I love this game, I cannot wait for it, oh, it's gonna be a masterpiece, it's gonna be game of the year. Like, I heard that all over the fucking internet.
And people but the people don't always pre-order, because we are fucked over by every game studio that we are pre-ordered, and that is true was on Helldivers 2. The people are more suspicious about every game that comes out and don't pre-order everything. I just take like wake some of people. 165 plus 44 is 209. So like let's talk about the actual players on start
We're just above 400,000.
um
I'm also googling right now how many. I'm looking for the exact number of pre-orders.
I couldn't find it, but if you
I'm also looking for it.
Yeah.
I'm not finding anything. That's why I made that's the thing. On launch, you had 400,000 people on board. How many do you think? How many do you think were pre-orders?
one moment. 80, like around 80,000, like you said.
So
It was around 80,000. Yeah.
so again, a 100,000 server for this game, 80,000 of them are pre-orders. Wouldn't you agree that is complete complete ignorance slash stupidity from either Sony or Arrowhead
Yeah,
to not?
it's some type of stupidity. But I have to say, they have worked out easily in the first 2 days to open the server to like 250,000 people, and it still wasn't enough.
I bought the game a month. I bought the game in like end of February, start of March, a month after the game released. On my episode 2 of Helldivers, like 10 minutes into the stream, the servers fucking crashed.
Mm, I bought Helldivers right about a month after, and it's yeah, a month and a week, so somewhat like that after the launch, because I was waiting on that the server are fully open for everyone, and I had some problems to log in, but not that much. And the server didn't crash that much either. To get new servers is a little bit more complicated, I was told. It's not that easy to make to get new servers online. You just
There,
can't copy paste everything
the
for a new server to expand the capacity.
the
Um,
the servers are owned by a multi-million-dollar company that
you mean
the,
shit
gay,
station?
yeah, gay station. The thing is,
Yeah.
gay state. Okay, to bring it to the core of the issue. Back when GTA 5 came out, cross-platform or cross-play was begged for because of GTA 5, and
Yeah.
Sony made a statement, a public statement, that they will never allow cross-platform or whatever the fuck you want to call it, because they don't want to damage the experience and performance of their community slash player base with inferior hardware. Yet the multi-million-dollar faggot, doesn't have enough servers for a online focused game that they are endorsing when they had the pre-order numbers and a month ahead warning of, oh shit, 80% of the servers are pre-orders alone. How many do you think
Yeah.
you're gonna have on launch? This is incompetence, which brings me back to the
Oh,
point of, okay, you're Helldivers. You made so quick
oh.
math, quick
Sony
calculator.
is really
400,000 times 40. Let's say not many people bought the premium edition, the $60 version or the $50.
it
16
would
million.
yeah.
Ho- At that point, 2 months, 3 months. Like after 3 months the game was out, that's when the shit started happening with shitty balancing, bugs, all hell broke loose in terms of problems with the project. And servers were still bad. I got kicked in the middle of a mission with Cisco, Elmo, and Viper, and we were all sitting like kneeling, like around a fucking invisible campfire. I get disconnected. I come back and I basically drop in the middle of a fucking war zone from Nam. What the fuck happened in the span of 2 minutes for me to load back into the mission? And that only
Yeah.
happened because we got disconnected. Like one by one.
So it's a very delicate and complicated matter. But on one term, I totally agree with you.
It's
Shit Station
incompetence.
made are totally incompetent and made that game and its reviews so much worse. But I have to tell you, I would like to end it here. We can continue this discussion. Really, it would. I would like to continue this discussion
Me
another
too.
day. because it's really getting late and
Yeah,
I want to spend a little bit of time with my brother and then I'm going to sleep.
yeah, no problem, mate. We can continue this anytime. But in case we're not gonna continue it live, because I'm pretty sure whenever we hang out again, like off stream, we're gonna continue this discussion passively
Yeah.
as like jitter jatter between friends. But
Yeah.
as a in case of a not to be continued, um. Do you think my review is a fair review, objectively, even though we personally disagree on how the quality of the game?
I think your review is overall a good review, but it tends to be a little bit on the it doesn't push up the positive sides. It tends to be on the negative sides, uh, just from a objective perspective.
Well,
Tends to be on a negative side and doesn't add the positive sides, also not much the positive sides, which is totally okay.
that's the thing. The positives of the game, and I think we can both agree on this, is that it's a very fun game. It's a very like breath of fresh air for the gaming
Yeah.
community, and the community is very healthy.
Yeah, sure. That's one part, but the game itself, how it's intended, how what the concept is with the co-op, with the just to get your friends or completely strangers to get to help you to get together to do to open up that play field for everyone. That is something that is very positive that you don't see in almost every other game, and I think that has to be pushed. I think on your
I did
technical
make a
side,
I did
you
make
are
a pretty
most you are
sorry.
mostly correct. Totally mostly correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the stratagems, we have different opinions about it,
Yeah.
and that's totally okay. You said maybe it's a little bit of a misunderstanding because of some words.
Oh
That
no, it's
just
fine.
happens too.
The thing is, I'm willing to agree that I may be wrong on the like I can be wrong on the stratagems. I'm not 100% set in stone. It's just I use the specific, well, a more uh, blunt, objective, logical perspective to it
Yeah,
compared to, oh, this stratagem is good in these scenarios, but it's bad in this. Like, that's what I would call a critique level analysis. Like, I have a critique level analysis of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Like, that's how I usually argue and analyze games. And I think that video might be more enjoyable for you if you want to check it out later.
I maybe will check it out, but it's the first video I saw from
Yeah.
you, and it's I didn't know you, and but I liked your style, how you analyzed it, and how you talk about um, logically about so many things, and that for that one I loved it
Yeah.
because it's something interesting, and the style you have been brought it over. It's not something like, oh, I talk about a list and I just make my dots on the list that I what I have done. You bring it more lively over, and that's wonderful.
uh,
So I love your review, and you have done a good review on the logic side of things. But I'm maybe not into that. I'm more on the critique and more on the in-depth. What is for what review side on very specific sites. So I might be maybe the wrong person to have gotten it as your first video essay. So I
no,
didn't.
the idea is that my reviews are much smaller projects. Like, the thing is, um, my reviews would gloss over the in-depth part. I will still like, let's say the stratagems. If I made a critique of Helldivers 2, I would go in depth with each stratagem, its cooldown, all of it. Like, I will go full nuts on it. Uh, but at the same time, I'm already doing a critique style project. Like, it's a huge project. Part one, I covered for the first 40 minutes of Assassin's Creed, and it's a 1 hour and 20-minute video because I'm so in depth and paying attention to so many details and how everything links backwards and forwards. Because if they say something later in the story that contradicts something at the beginning, I will have to mention it, cross examine it, all of that. Like, the critiques are that in depth level of critique that you might be able to
Yeah.
enjoy. My reviews are smaller projects that have the same style, but I'm not gonna spend an hour on each minute detail because I do understand that some people would like a more dumbed down version to absorb the entire thing instead of small parts. The reviews are for games that I'm not 100% passionate about. Well, for example, Need for Speed. I would
Sure.
make a critique of Need for Speed. I wouldn't make a critique of Assassin's Creed Shadows. The only reason Assassin's Creed Mirage got a critique is because it was advertised as the rebirth of Assassin's Creed, back to its roots, back to it, basically Assassin's Creed 1 remastered, like remade, the new, like the new and the old merged together, because the new stuff from Origins onwards was basically budget Dark Souls, which was shit. So when they brought Mirage back into the front stage, we're back in old age Middle East. Masyaf is being built. We're like 100 years away from Altair. Like they really focused on Assassin's Creed is back to its roots, which failed, and because it gave me that, ooh, maybe Assassin's Creed is actually going to be good again. That's why I'm making such a full in-depth critique, because the game is horrible. But
I have
Helldivers,
played it, and because I don't pay that much money for that little gameplay.
I haven't played it either. I'm using footage from MKS and Fire, and I mainly focus on the story. I will mention gameplay. For example, there's the ability where you can freeze time and teleport around to kill enemies. That is a retarded fucking ability. Like, gameplay wise, yeah, I understand why they did it. It's a fresh new thing. But from a consistent in-world aspect, the ability is retarded and it should not exist. And I will make that argument when I get to it, or when MKS and Fire gets to it in his video, because I'm using his video as a template. Mainly I focus on the story and how it's shit. But yeah, my reviews are the watered down versions. I will still pinpoint every single mistake I find. I will point out, oh, the physics are horrible. Why? They're inconsistent, they're buggy, and they're core problems. Moving on to the movement, because it's affected by the physics, yada yada. Then the stratagems, because they're the core of the core ability of the game. Most stratagems are useless because they're scenario based. That was my argument. Like, there's more scenario based abilities than universal abilities, which work perfectly fine in any scenario. So why would the fuck would you choose the others? Like, yeah, you would choose them for fun, which I mentioned later in the video,
and for effectiveness.
Yeah, effectiveness is specific scenario, but at that point,
on scenario.
Yeah, it's a mute point, technically, for the review.
Yeah, a mute point for the review. But just like I mentioned, it's a good review, but it feels kind of focused on the negative sides.
I did try my best to make the community side more positive, since the whole like the heart of the game is the community, the
The heart
co-op
of the game is
aspect.
the community.
Yeah, I
I
did.
mean, I play. Sorry uh, sorry to talk over you, but
It's fine.
just the community side. Sorry, I have to say it. I have patches. I'm playing Airsoft and paintball, and I have for on my vests Helldivers patches, and how
Nice.
much people just scream at me just for fun, for democracy, for Super Earth.
the
Get some liberty
At the end of the
and
video, I did
stuff
try.
like that.
At the end of
Yeah.
the video, I did try my best to be like, look, the community is amazing, and we should learn. Like other games should learn from it. There's almost no other game where you can join a random person and fight back to back like you've been brothers forever, or you're
Yeah.
solo and suddenly a teammate or a random person joins and it's not a troll, like they are actually there in the shitter with you, like crawling through mud and hell. And I point that out. I should have maybe been a bit more passionate about it when speaking about it. It's just it got really swallowed by all the mistakes of it. And
Yeah.
the experience is very subjective. Some people may not even encounter that. It's based by person to person. That's why I kept it kind of like in the
Yeah,
background
it's
and to my
for-
opinions section. Because in my opinion
Sure.
sections, I say it's a fun game. It's a nice
that
fresh air.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's wonderful. Um, like I said, I think that's a good review from technical standpoint, from logical standpoint, and from a person who just want to play some short time and have some don't have to pick thoughts, don't have to get yourself used to tactics and shit. That's the review I would give the people that are buying that game.
And that was I was hoping to achieve with it. I was hoping the video would speak with the people that played Helldivers like hardcore, like the people that play only Helldiver difficulty. Like they understand like the core problems, they understand why I have these opinions and why I have
Yeah.
these perspectives. But also people that never bought the game and maybe never heard of the game. They're like, ooh, what is Helldivers about? Ooh, there's Leo's review. What is it about? Well, this is the game. These are the problems. This is the upsides. And some people might ignore completely everything what I said for the first 10 minutes of the video. The moment they hear the community is welcoming and you're brothers in arms, no matter who you are, where you join, when you join.
Yeah. Yeah. But if I can recommend you put an update, like some update link or some update video for that review, just with small parts that they have fixed some of the core issues, because that helps because that doesn't seem to let you look like you are not up to date and you don't care about your review as it's getting old. So you're caring about your review because you are you make a good review and stand for that even after they patch certain things.
I did. That's kind of the difficulty of making reviews for live video games.
Yeah,
Hell,
yeah.
many No Man's Sky reviews became irrelevant when the negative
Oh,
ones. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, but people made updated reviews. That's why, because I know a game can go from a shit show to a masterpiece, to a very good game that you can recommend
Yeah.
it in the future. I left that final hurrah for Helldivers. If they fix the problems that I mentioned earlier, I will highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah.
That was the if
that
I
was-
end up being wrong in a year or two.
Yeah, but the problem is, some of the core problems were fixed, as you put on the video.
Uh,
So it's like I know it takes a lot of work to make videos like this. So it takes over a month and shit to get that done. So you made that video as it was at this point, but as you uploaded it,
I can send
some
you.
of the problems were fixed like a week or 2 weeks.
There was actually, speaking of outdated videos, a day after I uploaded my video, somebody posted a Helldivers video as well, and it was more up to date, more out of date than mine.
Oh.
Yes, and it was a day
Brutal, man.
later, which is ironic.
Boy.
Uh,
I
like-
haven't seen it, so I would have gone to them and told them
And-
the same. I'm totally sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. The thing is, before I uploaded it, I've heard, like, literally a day before I was ready to upload the video, I saw a short talking about the new balance update, and I asked, and Cisco is a witness here because he was there when I asked. I asked him and Moo, and they are still playing the game. Did they fix everything that I mentioned, or did they fix only the balancing? Because if they only fix the balancing, my arguments about the ragdolls taking ages, and when you dive to prone, it takes fucking forever to get up, even if you press the right buttons.
Sometimes, but it's more likely that it works very well.
But yeah, that is kind of my point. Like, if they fix
it's
it,
inconsistent.
check it out. Because I'm willing to make a fucking update video or an update review when
When it's consistent. and
Yeah, when
you
it's
don't have to
consistently
worry
good.
about
that
shit anymore. Okay, I totally understand that. That's totally okay. And like I said, I love your style, how you bring it to the people, and that's what brought me to your channel, and that's why I stick to it, and that's why I made that that comment, that long ass comment. Just
Not gonna
because
lie.
I like your style.
Not gonna lie, I loved your comment. The moment I saw it, I was like, ooh, a long comment. Somebody actually paid attention to my video and actually cared to attack all my points. And while I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is an amazing comment. Like, so, of course, some of the arguments were based in fun and subjective premises, but the whole point of you have flaws in or misinformation in certain aspects, like the stratagems or the difficulty or which level you're playing, like that really interested me. That's why I wanted to talk with you, and it genuinely I love this discussion from start to finish.
I love the discussion too. It's very interesting and totally funny, so I love it, and we will make the discussion. We will make some other parts like difficulties. Why Joel is sometimes such a piece of shit, and what is happening with that enormous spawn rates, and why it goes ups and downs, and what it has to do with the actual moving galactic war. So I have so many things to discuss about. It doesn't get into one time and one video.
Yeah, it's gonna take like a couple podcasts of us discussing this. Maybe I guess maybe we should like I should record it like one time when it's just us two discussing off the cuff, and like post it as a pre-recorded stream. But yeah, we'll figure it out. The point is, welcome to the community, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, mate.
And you're genuinely, I loved your comment and the discussion we have. You are like the first and only person that gave me constructive criticism so far, and that really loved what I do. It really pushes me to make more. I was really terrified when I started doing reviews that, ah, shit, I'm just killing my channel to an
No, that's
extent.
totally okay, and I like it how you bring it to the people, and that's you will getting bigger with time. You just need to get some things sorted, and I
Yeah,
guess you learn over time. So that will work. Make it happen. You have a good basis.
thank you very much. And that's
And
kind of why we have the podcast. The podcast is like what I would want my reviews slash critiques to be. But when I don't have, like, while I'm working on the critiques, I'm doing the podcast as a parallel to topics that might end up becoming videos later on.
yeah,
Yep.
okie
Uh,
doke.
that pretty much covers it for tonight. Hope you
Yeah.
sleep well and have a nice evening, mate.
You too. Have a nice evening. And you are more than welcome. I sent you my Steam tag over to just join us for missions and shit.
Hell yeah. Uh,
Okay.
uh, we'll keep in touch on the Discord server. You're always welcome to join
Yeah.
VCs and stuff.
Thanks. I'll do that.
Take care, mate.
Then take care of it. See ya.
See
Good
ya.
night.
That was refreshing as shit. Ah. It's been such a long time since I had like such an amazing discussion with, like, the last time I had a discussion this amazing was with you.
What do you mean? Well, when we talked about the
Yeah, like when we talked about Helldivers or in general when we talk about stuff. Like
yeah,
there's so like not a month before I met you, I would always have to argue about what's subjective because people wouldn't fucking be able to separate it, like separate the two. And now people, like, I meet people that understand the differences, and we can have, like, even we disagreed for the most part on the stratagems and certain topics, but we never like shouted at each other and hated each other, and it's very refreshing.
yeah.
I'm like on a discussion high right now.
Right.
What did you think of the whole thing so far?
Me, it was a good, good um perspective on both of you guys, trying to hear you guys out, and well, you guys both heard each other out. If that's what I was trying to, I guess, keep quiet and let you guys.
I'm sorry I
Um,
didn't let you out to speak more, but you can always intervene, by the way.
no, it was fun because I was learning too. Some of the stuff I did not know was going on. I haven't played it in a while because I'm doing other stuff. So I was like, oh, wait a minute, they did that, you know?
Ah.
Like he said that they changed a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna argue against it. Like, sure, they. That's the thing. If they did fix everything, I'm hopping back on Helldivers. Well, everything. Like, if they fixed that, at least how often it happens. I don't care if, like, personally, I don't care if the problems are still there, as long as they don't happen every 5 seconds and they kill me every fucking 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what really turned, like, that's why I went apeshit on that last Helldivers episode. And why it pushed me to make that review. Ah, uh, I gotta, like, this is genuinely the best debate I've ever had. Well, debate, discussion, actually. It wasn't even really a debate.
Hmm.
Uh, I gotta write it down. Like, whenever people, because there's many people in private that uh, shit on me for being constantly and what's it called? Fuck, it's slipping my mind. a contrarian. They're like, there's a lot of people or old acquaintances that, oh, you're just a contrarian. You cannot. You just share your opinion and shit. No, I'll link them the stream. It's like, this is how a discussion is made.